Hello everybody, Billy Tucci here, come to you live with my YouTube video of the day. We're going to do a chat. I got the iPad set up as well, and I hope you can see this. I've never done this before, so I'll have to try different angles and all, but you get the idea. Here's the cover that we hope to have for the New York Comic Con this year, which is based off of an original June Tarp Mills illustration. This is courtesy of the Heritage Auctions by June Tarp Mills. She did during the war, because it says it's this beautiful of Miss Fury getting dressed, and it says, "Wonder what the boys of the 66th Armored Regiment want to see me about." A lot of wet to it. What's up? I'm going to start looking. I'm going to try to also read the comments at all. I have 3 people. And Don Tucci, hello. Yes, some of my friends calling me Don Tucci. There's been a lot of controversy, a lot of crazy stuff been going on lately in comics. A lot of really weird, wacky stuff. And we'll be addressing that in the next few weeks. But right now I've got too many deadlines to work on. And but in the meantime, let's just talk comics, and let's do comics until I get straightened out. Another Don Tucci. Hello, my friend. How are you? So, anyway, as those of you know that I'll be in more Don Tucci. Thank you, Chris. Good to see you. I figure I have to draw this illustration, so why not have some friends come along with me while I do? I've got the iPad working here, and I am totally new at this. Sketchy therapy. We won't send you any pictures of anything. Hi, Matt. How are you? I'm going to like this, and I'm going to see if I can get live. Figure out how to do that. Let's see. Do I play it? Well, anyway, so here's, hey, Jerry. Jerry's not here. Jerry's a son of a bitch. That bastard. Anyway, so, before I head out to Dragon Con tomorrow morning, we have, hello, Phil. How are you? FP Sonny, are you and Ethan still friends? Of course we are. Sketch Therapy says, I am live. Fantastic. I'm just trying to see how I can answer the questions on the iPad, which I have working down here, and it looks pretty good. Again, this is a planned variant cover for Miss Fury #1 that we hope to have at the New York Comic Con and to be our exclusive edition. It's based off of a beautiful June Tarp Mills. My printer is running out of ink, and until that, and especially with the convention and all coming up, and the kids getting ready for school, we've just been running low on a lot of stuff. But you'll get the idea. Here's the illustration. I'm doing a Billy Tucci updated edition of it, and yes, we're all good. I'm good with everybody. I don't have any problems with anybody. Anyone has a problem with me, they say it in my face. No, I am friends with a lot of people. Ethan's my friend. Marsha's my friend. A lot of people are my friends. Very, very distressed about seeing what's going on. And maybe we will explore and find out exactly what this whole Comicsgate thing is all about. Really didn't pay much attention to it. Water with it inadvertently, but or maybe we just the hell with it all and talk comics, because I got better things to do. Anyway, I've got a couple of people watching. If I could somehow add a plus to it. I don't know how to do it. It's my wife is on here. That's what it is. I'm on my wife's account. So anyway, so I would say all the blue-haired feminists will hate it, love it. Oh, stop it now with that. Anyway, I don't see how anyone can hate this, again, because this is risque. It is pretty fantastic. But this illustration is from World War II. And this illustration was created by June Mills, who was an incredibly progressive sort for her day. The language that was in the book, there was a lot of cursing, there's a lot of face punching, there's a lot of anti-PC thing. I mean, we really, we were in the middle of a war against, the most evil, people that amongst the world's most evil people. So I laid this out lightly. I use my number 2H pen. And so I've had this. God, I had to have this from. I've had to have this. I've got another one. It's metal. I've got another one somewhere, and it's got a lot of wear on it. I got an even cooler red one somewhere, and we'll give you guys a tour of my studio eventually. But yeah, it's a lot of very distressing things going on in comics these days. Really sad. But you know what? I guess maybe there is a dialogue that has to be spoken, that has to be said. Is my feed going through okay? It looks like it is. So let's zoom in a little more and let's get to it. I'll get to working. As I said, I'm here right now on Debbie's iPad, and we are looking. But I don't see the questions. I don't know how to see comments. Let me see if I can show comments or something. Feedback? Maybe that's it. Let's see. Feedback. No, it's asking me to leave feedback. Anyway, well, I had so much fun doing Alice's commission today, among other things. Since I last saw you, I got to read a fantastic script about a Christmas story that I'll be working on. We'll be making an announcement about that. That involves superheroes and doing my first work ever, doing a character I've never drawn before in comics. It's a mainstream character, and I'm really excited about this. It's another bucket list character. Mainstream Christmas story with one of the top writers. I'm just illustrating it, but I'll be working with one of the top writers in the comics industry, and also one of my best friends, who he's kind of a mean son of a bitch to some people, but he's really crafted a beautiful story, and I really can't wait to get into it. It's an important story, and I gotta tell you, it really moved me to read it, and it's gonna be a privilege to work on it. So, anyway, if you guys can hear me, someone say you can hear me. Billy, you're looking real jacked, baby. Booker T. Anyway, so can you draw a personal Green Lantern for me for a Christmas gift for me? Oh, Peter Peter, my friend Peter, one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life. He's a great man, a man of faith, an incredible songwriter, incredible father. I don't know, are you a grandfather as of yet, Peter? Not sure if you are. If you are, forgive me. One of the most talented individuals I've ever met in my life, and a huge influence on me. One of my personal heroes, actually. So, Peter was in a band in the 80s, into the 90s, called The Craze, which is still to this day one of my favorite bands. Peter, if you have a link to some of your videos of your songs, I really wish that you'd put them on YouTube, or you could start selling CDs, because I had an old 8-track tape about it, and I still don't have it. I mean, I lost it somehow, or I don't know what. I think it was we had things in storage, and, you know, in the early 90s, we really couldn't afford to keep the storage up, and we lost it, along with a lot of our personal effects. And it stinks because it can't, you know, that happened right before She actually came out. And what stinks is because when my comic came out, everything changed. And I feel bad for my mom. There's a lot of our personal effects, a lot of our childhood things, photo albums, stuff like that was all lost in storage when it was auctioned off or thrown out or whatever the hell it was that they did. But we're going to do a Miss Fury here. Now, I had posted a few weeks back, before anyone knew we were working on Miss Fury, so I guess it was maybe a few months back, about who was the most classically, let's see, Colin, I'm sorry, do you ever do commissions? Or commissions? Mostly I get my commissions at conventions, as when I get with my writing, with I have 3 new creator-owned projects coming out. One is one I'll save to be announced. I think it's going to be announced at the Baltimore Comic Con. The other is Zombie Sama. I'm doing with my partner John Brolia, and of course the return of She, with She, Return of the Warrior. So anyway, getting back to this, I have Miss Fury. June Tart Mills, Miss Fury's creator, really crafted an incredible character. I mean, she was like a movie star. She was small. They referred to her quite often as the little one. I'm putting in the script that she's only 5 foot. She seems really small, and I'm figuring if some of the male characters are say 6'2", you know, the Clark Gable big type of, you know, John Wayne, you know, Hollywood hunk type, since they were. Um, I figured she's wearing 4-inch heels, and she still looks a good, you know, 6 to 8 inches smaller than them. And they do refer to her quite often as the little one. There is also Marla Drake, who is Miss Fury. She starts off as a 20-something socialite who's incredibly upset about finding out that another girl, quote unquote, will be wearing the same Scarlett O'Hara costume to a party. And she's distraught. She doesn't know what to do. Her friend Francine recommends that she wears the Black Panther costume that her uncle had willed her explorer uncle from Africa had willed her. And so she ends up taking the costume. She never makes it to the party. She ends up stopping a murderer. Actually ends up capturing a murderer. And after though beating up a police officer or a detective who becomes a major character in the Miss Fury story arc. And I guess you could say the love of her life. Dan Carey, Detective Dan Carey, who becomes a United States Marine during the war. And well, more on him later on. But I know the angle isn't quite right. I'll see if I can maneuver it around a little bit more. If we can get the angle a little bit better. But, okay. Colin, Renee, where is Miss Fury? Still cannot believe how awesome an illustrator you've become. Oh, that's nice of you. Oh, stop, Peter. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got to be completely honest with you. I'm sitting here talking to you people, starting my new YouTube channel. If anybody wouldn't mind subscribing to it, please do. But getting back to this is that June Mills was a stunner, as is Marla Drake, her character. But the interesting thing is that Marla Drake looks a lot like June Tart Mills. Trina Robbins actually showed me some photos of her. But it only seems I can only find, I think, 3 photos of June Mills. I have been in touch with her grandnephew, and he is Bill. And so hopefully I can get some information from him, because this whole new Miss Fury series through Dynamite is to honor her creator, Miss Fury's creator, June Tart Mills. Anyway, getting back, but I digress. Getting back to my thing, I had proposed, I put out a poll. I think we had something like 250 to 249 or something like that. Some really weird of who Facebook fans felt was the most classically beautiful actress of. Sorry, I'm trying to get it so you guys can see this. Of the golden age of Hollywood. It came down to 2: Hedy Lamarr and Gene Tierney. And Hedy actually eked out Gene by maybe 6 or 7 votes of a poll of 200 people. Of 200 people that voted. So I like to use an influence. I love them. You know, I find them both incredibly talented and stunning beauties. And the thing about Hedy Lamarr as well is just what a genius she was. She actually was the one we would she is really the creator of Bluetooth technology. She had ideas that she proposed to the United States Navy about submarines working things with sonar and stuff like that. And all of that was actually laid the groundwork for Bluetooth technology. Believe it or not, the Navy, I believe, rejected the majority of her ideas, being that, you know, how the government is, and we know more than you would. But they ended up going back in the 60s. I think it took something like 26 years for them to go back to the patent that Hedy Lamarr had actually penned it, or actually, you know, what's the word? Help me out here. What's the word? A bit later, Sophia Loren is my favorite. Yes, Sophia Loren was beautiful. Anyway, the patent that was held by Hedy Lamarr and her partner, I forget his name. It escapes me. Forgive me. It's late, and I didn't do my homework today because I wasn't. This was kind of a spur of the moment thing. Another great thing is these hot ringlets that that Marla Drake has. She was always dressed to the nines in Miss Fury, full of curls. What these poor women must have went through in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, before the whole thing. The people in the 60s said, oh man, the mid 60s, late 60s, the hell with this. Just a torture, with hot irons and curlers in their hairs, and you see Lucille Ball wearing it, a lot of comical stretches and all, but man, I mean, they just look incredible. They look like wigs, and they just had these incredible ringlets, beautiful hairstyle. Again, Miss Mills really was a fashion maven. She knew how to dress. She was a looker, and Marla Drake, her creation, was always dressed to the nines. Funny, she almost died a few times actually. Marla Drake in the comics, and she suffered, and she was looking pretty worse to wear, but a few panels later, she was back all dolled up and dressed up, and she would just, her hair was always done, her nails. Real product of the time. Of the times. Let's see. Anyone have any questions? I'm looking. I don't see anybody. I just can't see. Oh, wait a minute. Huh? Subscribed. Started streaming. I can't for the life of me see. Okay, Matt V. Oh, dang it. I just missed you on my phone. Well, I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is going to be a while. I'm going to spend a lot of time on the hair. Gotta again sharpen this pencil because these Beryl Prismacolor pencils are so soft, and it really lays itself out to the paper quite nicely. Where is she? All right, so this is getting a little difficult because I'm trying to draw this and keep the camera at the same time. I promise you, and for you guys, my battalion, we have almost 1,200 subscribers last I saw, and thank you all so much. You are the first battalion of the Tucci Troopers. Hopefully we'll end up having a whole division, which is 20,000 men, and maybe we can even move up even more and become an army, become a group and become an army of Tucci Troopers. And I'm going to come to you guys live all the time. If I'm drawing, if you don't mind listening to me and you want to see my little drawing process, or you have questions to ask me, Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story. I have not seen that, Andrew. If there is a link to that somewhere, would you mind posting that? Because I'd like to see it, or if you could send me a message or post in the comments, because I would really love to see that. I am not familiar with that at all. Is it something that's old? Is it something that's in theaters now? Please do tell. I mean, who isn't a fan of the golden age of Hollywood? And anyway, let's see here. Don't forget us women. I'm sorry, what was that? Darn it. Don't forget us women. Oh, boy. Anyway, getting back to Miss Fury. Miss Fury is the first comic strip superhero that was written and created and illustrated by a woman. Thank you very much for trying to find that, Andrew. She preceded Wonder Woman by 6 months. And Wonder Woman was of course created by Dr. Marston. I saw that film, Dr. Marston and his Wonder Woman. It was all right. Not too crazy about it. Feud was great. Joan Crawford and Bette Davis was fantastic with Susan Sarandon. Oh, who played that? She was so great. Why does it escape me? It was fantastic. They were great. They were both great, and just the things of what they really did to one another. And Bette Davis was actually Jessica Lange. Susan Sarandon was Bette Davis, and Jessica Lange was Joan Crawford. correct? I believe so. Loved Audrey Hepburn. Who doesn't love Audrey Hepburn? I have used Audrey Hepburn in so many, um, so many illustrations. You look at her for Catwoman. Great thing that with Darwin Cook came when he redesigned Catwoman, and she really was Audrey to the T. Darwin really knew. He knew how to write. He knew how to draw. He knew how to be a great friend. He was just, really was the best of us, and he's missed by all of us so much. He's one of those things that, when they're gone and it gets easier, it really doesn't get easier, and he'll be missed, and he'll never be replaced. So, and drawing this picture, I also love, I hate the goggle Catwoman. I don't know. I like that. I like it. I find it far more more functioning. The Google Catwoman. I don't know. I like it. I like the idea that she's a real badass, and she's still sexy. She's still elegant, and but then again, I also love the Catwoman from look at the gray Catwoman. With the gray costume. I love the Jim Ballant style Catwoman. I mean, with her hair sticking out. I mean, how can you not love Catwoman? I just love the character. Renee, thanks to you, Billy, I know this. But also what's cool is that you'll see that Catwoman, really was hugely inspired by Miss Fury. I mean, this, Catwoman's costume, when she really became the Catwoman, I mean, if you remember, she was in 1943 when she debuted, 3 years after Miss Fury. Selena Kyle was just a woman in a dress and a really weird looking cat mask, like a real cat Halloween mask. It looked like a stuffed cat on her face. And then I think it was 1947 or 49 is when she came about in the purple dress, the purple and green dress. My thoughts on the marriage? No, I've been so busy writing. And when I start to write, I really get into what I'm working on. And I don't know if anyone else is out there like that, but I can't get distracted. I can't watch, if I'm working on something, when I was let's say Sergeant Rock, which I go back to, I love. I mean, I totally engross myself into World War II documentaries on TV, listening to podcasts about the war, all sorts of things like that, because I can't get too distracted. Because then I'm just going to go off on that and get all excited about it and start talking about it with my friends, and then looking at, reading more books and things like that on the subject. And the Catwoman thing right now, I love Tom King. I think he's fantastic. But I think hopefully I'll grab a copy at Dragon Con, and maybe I could read it at the hotel or something like that. But as it is right now, of the projects I'm working on, I'd like to stick to another DC character. Not saying that I'm working on a DC character for Christmas, one that I've never worked on for a Christmas story. But if I was, I'd like to do something like that. Anyway, so as you see, I'm working on these ringlets. They are quite time consuming. June Mills, of course, always inked. But I think with my regular cat covers, I've been inking for Miss Fury, for all the regular covers. And I am the regular cover artist, or one of them. And we are, but Emma Kubert is drawing Miss Fury now. And I just don't know if I'll get a chance to draw her, but I will be doing I will be doing covers for all the issues. And, we've got, Emma's fantastic enough. We don't need me drawing these stories. Plus, I got to get on She, the new She book. But I like the idea of doing these variant covers and these exclusive covers. That'll give a little bit of the wall look, too. This and the other variant cover will be based off of Miss Fury, June Mills' original art, as an homage to her. Again, to keep her name out there, and you really, I'm standing on the shoulders of a giant, even though she was pretty petite as well. It looks like, if I could, keep her name in there, let people know, and never let people forget who June Tarp Mills is, because she passed away in 1988. Miss Fury slipped into the public domain, which sucks to begin with. And unfortunately, this character, and even more tragically, her creator kind of been lost along with a lot of Golden Age characters. And I mean, there's just some amazing, amazing creations that are in the public domain now. And their creators, many of their creators, are all but forgotten. That's why I'm so thankful for her personal champion, and Trina Robbins, who my wife and I had a delightful breakfast with her and Steve in San Diego, and I told her my story and how excited, and I think I got her, and the best compliment I had was when we left, we said goodbye, and I gave her a hug, and she said, "Oh, I'm so glad I like you." So that really made my whole San Diego Comic-Con. It really was the highlight of the show for me. I actually did meet her in person maybe 15, 20 years ago. And but this was real quality time with just the four of us having a nice quiet breakfast and just talking comics and comics history. And again, there's a lot of divisiveness in comics. There's a lot, even today, I've been looking at these things of people sending lewd photos of body parts and things like that, and threatening to kill people and things like that. These are comic fans and comic creators wishing, cancer on people and crazy stuff like that. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I mean, we have the ability to spread so much joy to people. And, I've wanted to jump in and give my 2 cents, but I promised my wife that I'll mind my tongue. If you are at Dragon Con and you guys want to have a drink and talk about this stuff, I'm more than happy to talk about it. I'm actually chomping at the bit to talk about it, but you know what? Keep everything positive. Again, there's too much negativity out there. I hope you'll all agree with me. And Matt V, civility has evaporated since around November of 16. Yeah, indeed. And it's just sad. I mean, by gosh, the things that this country has done, the people that it's freed around the world, the sacrifices that it's made. I mean, you think of World War II, you think of World War I. World War II, we were attacked by the Japanese, and then Germany declared war on us. Hitler declared war on us 3 days later, and the vast majority of our resources and casualties, were in the European theater of operations, and we had no beef, personally. The majority of Americans, of course, you had many people of Eastern Europe, specifically Jewish people, whose families were suffering, horrific conditions under the Holocaust and being exterminated by these monsters. But the ordinary citizen, the ordinary Joe that went over there to fight, he was never attacked. Their lands were never attacked. Their homes were never bombed. Yet they all volunteered to fight against, fascism, to fight against this evil that was in the world. And over 405,000 Americans paid the ultimate sacrifice, for another's freedom. And another thing is the millions of whose lives were turned upside down, interrupted for this war. And just you think about that. What nation in the entire world has done something like that? Who has done anything like that? I mean, perhaps the United Kingdom, what they did, but aside from them, France was attacked, Belgium was attacked, the Philippines, which was one of our, was our property, but China, by this Japanese, this fascist and imperialist Japanese aggression. But not us. We answered the call. And that's why I've made it. I guess my mission in life is also for the sacrifice of our soldiers and our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, our Marines, the sacrifices they incurred, and the ones that were wounded, and people talk about, oh, he was wounded. You know what wounded means? When someone's wounded, that means they're never the same for the rest of their life. You said China a certain way. China. Oh, did Trump, the president, say China? Oh, great. I thought I had a better, vocabulary than that, but I guess we are New Yorkers, and I did live in Queens, and I did live in Queens for about the better part of 6 years. So, New York accent's pretty hard to get away from. What I find funny, no offense to people from Jersey, but it does kind of piss me off, is that a lot of people from North Jersey are from New York. And it drives me crazy when people say, oh, Billy's from Jersey. No, I'm from Long Island, New York. I grew up there, born and raised. Moved to Manhattan to study at the Fashion Institute of Technology. Went to school there for 4 years. Then I moved to Queens, lived there, and then after she came out, thanks to all of you, I was able to move back out to Long Island, where we bought her home, and we've been back here for 21 years. So now let's get back to the art. So right now I'm working on, and you gotta forgive me for this because I am just not used to doing it. If I move this back, let's zoom in here a little bit. I'm gonna be working on, let's see, hang on. I'm back. Forgive me. I'm not trashing Jersey. I love Jersey. Debbie lived in Hoboken for a bunch of years. A lot of great friends, a lot of great memories in Jersey. Some of the best times of my life I had in New Jersey. So, I'm not bashing Jersey. It's just, not New York. It's just that the people from Northern Jersey, from Southern Jersey, Middle Jersey, they don't talk like, they're from New York. It just seems people from Jersey, the northern part of New Jersey, they also think they got really good pizza, but that's for another thing. I've had arguments with Frank Thierry, and Frank thinks that Brooklyn has the best pizza. Personally, I think Long Island has the best pizza, and I love my pizza. I mean, who doesn't? I always find it funny that when we go someplace, well, actually, my friend Marco has Gotham City Pizza in Florida, Daytona Beach, and it's Florida pizza, and like I said, my brother's eating there, my nephew's eating there, I've eaten there. It's damn good pizza. It is fantastic. So if you go to Marco's Pizza Parlor, I did a store signing there. Ethan did a store signing there. That was when that place was attacked, right? Wasn't it attacked the day after our signing? I don't know if it was a robbery, but I think it was someone had threatened to. They were going to kill Ethan or something like that, and they smashed in the Pizza Parlor steps. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, because maybe it was a robbery, a robbery attempt. And if it was a robbery attempt, I hope they caught the son of a bitch that did it. Anywho, I just know that someone had taken credit for it or something like that. But so anyway, so I'm getting back to this. Let's work on this here. Let's see, trying to get you in there. Forgive me, guys. I don't know what the heck I'm doing with this. It's reversed, too. That's what's messing me up. All right. So her costume is literally about a Black Panther skin. And there's one part that with every fortune spurned from this costume, 2 misfortunes follow. So it literally is cursed. Or Marla Drake feels it's cursed. Because she does get in a lot of trouble, but what's really great about this character is again, she started off as this seemingly spoiled, flippant, fickle socialite, early 20-something girl, written like you would think someone would assume a girl would be in the Golden Age, if you read any of the Golden Age comics, all written by men. And it opens up like that. And June Mills was a woman, though. But then you see in an issue how this character changed. And she becomes, by a force of nature, she literally turns into it. She becomes a force of nature. She becomes this gangster stomping, Nazi face punching, badass, Black Cat, Black Pantheress, Catwoman, who takes the fight right to these gangsters. She's fearless, even though she has a lot of self doubt. She doubts herself. She's not. She lacks the confidence in things. But she runs into the face of danger like it's nothing. She doesn't think for a second thought. Also, what an interesting thing about her is what she does is, Marla Drake ends up adopting a child. I think it's 1943, I think it was, maybe 44, when she adopted her son Darren. She, think about it, there's a single woman, and they talk about that because at first she's denied from adopting this child, but think of the scandal. Here this woman, she ends up going to Brazil, ends up fighting Nazis, ends up fighting gangsters in Brazil, ends up stopping this Nazi attack on the Brazilian government, and to try to take over this big jungle battle that happens with airplanes and tanks and this really crazy formula that melts metal and things like that, a secret formula. But along the way, she ends up finding this child who, believe it or not, is the adopted is actually the son, is the natural born son of her arch rival Erika von Kampf, the Nazi double agent, and her ex-fiance Gary Hale, both of whom which will be making an appearance in Miss Fury Joy Division. But she doesn't know this. And both Gary and Erika have no idea that it is Marla, in fact, who does adopt this toddler boy that's 2-3 years old. And the thing is that the boy was actually going to be part of this experiment that actually by this evil doctor. And she rescues the boy, brings him back to New York City, quite the scandal. But she feels this urge. And again, going back, this is 1944, in the middle of World War II. Where is a single woman, how would think of having a single woman adopt a child, and raise it as their own? And just amazing. I mean, what an amazing, amazing woman June Mills was. And just fantastic, fantastic stuff. So, all right, so we're working on that arm there. I don't know if anyone's still here, but I got to draw anyway, so I might as well talk, because I like hearing the sound of my own voice, I guess. Anywho, getting back, I'm going to try to refresh my YouTube page here. All right, I do see we are back on. Any questions? I'm going to pause for a second as we look at her mask that's falling from the costume. Let's see, Billy, what pencil are you using? Denali, it is Denali, forgive me. What I'm using right here, and I know it's reversed, is a Beryl Prismacolor. It's just the black. I was able to get them here. Here's a little thing. It's backwards, of course, so it's not going to help you. But it's black pencil. It's the same as any Beryl Prismacolors that you would buy, all the various colors. It's just black. And I just think it melts on the page. It's almost like an 8B, B for black pencil. It's just so rich, and gives and when we have colorists like Wes Hartman, who's coloring my covers for Miss Fury, and does a lot of my coloring, Wes just goes to town with it, and when he adds his colors to it, it just gives this amazing. Hang on, was it public domain? Hang on, yes. Peter. Was the character in the public domain? Yes, unfortunately, Miss Fury is in the public domain. And but I think that Dynamite is trying to do some sort of legal things. I know that they own their rights. Like Timely Comics, which became Marvel Comics, actually did reprint Miss Fury in 1951, I think. Pencil search, YouTube, yeah, there it is. People can search the Craze YouTube high school. Yeah, the Craze played it. One of the few videos, unfortunately, that is left of the Craze is a high school video. I mean, they were just fantastic. Just again, Peter, you really are still one of my favorite bands of all time. Anyway, so getting back to that, yes, Miss Fury is in the public domain. June Mills has passed away. When she passed away, there was no one claimed the property, and I guess if something isn't published for however long, it will fall into the public domain. But I know like Timely has their reprints of Miss Fury. That they reprinted. Their reprints are owned by Timely Comics. But the rest of Miss Fury is in the public domain, and that's that. But if anyone tries to reprint her, I'll kill you. How's that? Because I'm working on this. So anyway, so I'm doing this hand. I'm trying to get the hands. I'm trying to keep with June Mills's illustration. Let's see if I could zoom in on that a little bit here. Let's zoom in on that. See, really elegant. Let's see if I can face it to you guys. Shit. Oh, there we go. Sorry for my cursing. So there it is. With the brush, I'm gonna try to do it a little bit more modern, a little more up to date. And the hand. Let's see if I'm still on here. Yes, I am. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. Zoom out. I'm going to zoom out, guys. Sorry, I hope I'm not giving you all headaches. Let's draw this arm here. There we go. So, let's leave this here for a minute. Any questions? Billy Tucci, do you think drawing or do... Oh, dang it, I just missed it. And again, until I can get ready to follow this, I apologize. Can you ask that question again? Anybody else? We're going on 42 minutes here. Getting a lot of work done. It's going to be a long night. Heading out to Dragon Con tomorrow. I will be. Hi, Liadara. Hello, Liadara. How are you? Billy Tucci. Your Apostle Arts site basically defunct. I had previously wanted to contact you. It didn't update. Matt, please send it to me. I don't know what happened with that website. Yeah, because it was running great. I'm still paying for it. I renewed. It's always been renewed. I don't know if something with the engine that built it, because we had a great site that was put together by my partner Evan Archilla. Amazing site, and you know, we had a counter for all the visits that we had from all over the world, and we had lots of photos and images and reviews. And for the life of me, I just can't find it. I don't know what happened. I don't know much about, you know. Again, I'm what do they call me? A boomer, I guess. I'm a boomer, like a baby boomer or something, because I don't know much about. I don't remember much about or know much about the internet. You saw when it looked stellar. Oh, thank you, my friend. It really was a stellar, beautiful website. I'm gonna fix her nose because I kind of screwed it up. Billy Tucci, I was asking what pen would you be using for inking, or do you mostly do pencil work? I do. Hey, Will. Hey. My son William is here. Whoa. Don't do that. I have a Quoquil pen here. I'll show you what I use when I ink. I have several of these, the quills. But I like, especially with Miss Fury, I've been using brushes because of that's what June Mills used. So I use my Vienna. It's a number 2. It's a round brush. I have the label on it. I got it at Michael's, but it's a great line brush. I think to Mark McKenna, I think suggested I use number 2s. It's so funny. I was actually having a conversation with Michael Allred, who is one of my favorite comic creators, and I think he's just a genius. He and his wife Laura. And they're also the nicest people you'll ever meet. But Michael and I were having a conversation about brushes, and I was picking his brain about all these things. And then he earnestly asked me, so what brush do you use? And I was like, well, I guess I use a number 2 because I really don't know much about it, about brushes. I do prefer to pencil, I guess. I feel more comfortable penciling. But especially with once computers came around, contact didn't update. Matt, if you need to contact me, you could please contact me through here or post a message here, and I'll get in touch with you. Okay. Forgive me for that. I will learn how to do that. I will learn how to do to get this website working, because my dream is to actually do another another a story on the life of Christ. It's called Blessed Are They, and it's about the Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount. Elta von Biscayne. Nice, Billy. Thank you. I can't see your first name because I'm kind of bent over looking at the thing. Anyway, so here's my drawing. You guys want to see how it's coming along? I took Miss Mills's drawing. Hello. And I sort of updated it, gave it the Tucci flair. If I can get a little higher with it, you can see it better. Let's see that. I always do letterbox. You've got to do letterbox. The drawing is gorgeous. Thank you so much. I had a fantastic blueprint. It's all Miss Mills. It's not me. I am just kind of redrawing it. Great legs. Nice gams, right? Did you see that Cyber Frog variant is up to 25,000 in only 11 hours? No, I did not. Wow. Oh, my gosh. Good for him. Oh, I can't wait to launch our own Indiegogos or Kickstarters. I am leaning towards Indiegogo just because I think they take less, right? They take less, but then again, my buddy Brian Polito was killing it with the Kickstarter. We did our first Kickstarter, which I'm so happy to say that all of our hoodies and all these things are coming out, are being shipped as we speak. We've never done this before, so thank you for being patient with us. Some of the things, specifically the coins, took a lot long. Not the coins, the pins took a lot longer than we thought. But that said, they're all going out, and we're also doing something with. We have so many generous people gave hoodies to hoodies for heroes, which we are sending hoodies to active duty soldiers, World War II veterans, Cold War veterans, Vietnam veterans, anyone who served, Korean War veterans, and specifically we're finding a lot of paratroopers. Why can't, for my Indiegogo, for Citrus, fellow New Yorker from Brooklyn, need to get the Blue Yeti, Billy. Hard to hear you. Oh, I got my headphones. I'm sorry. Hang on. Duh. Sorry, guys. My headphones came out. Is that better? Can you guys hear me better? Hello? Okay. I have my headset in. Let's see. I know that it's been out a while. I want to say thank you for creating A Child Is Born. Thank you so much. I'm really blessed for doing a child. Cool. Doing A Child Is Born was really a highlight of my career. I really felt when I was doing that book that the Lord's hand was guiding me while I was doing it. There was such an incredible sense of positive energy around it. And it was such a joy for me. It was such a really great bit of therapy to put this story out on the board. And it was just, again, talk about positive vibes, positivity. It was good for me, especially since my wife was coming out, had just finished with a bout of breast cancer and all the surgery she went through and all. And, it was real therapeutic. It was nice to do something positive. And I really jumped into all the historical aspects of it, about what the clothes the people wore in Judea at that time. And I got to meet with nativity scholars and a bunch of priests and things like that, and it was fantastic. It was great. And what's funny is that it's the only book that I could think of that people actually came up to me and still come up to me and thank me for doing. They thanked me for doing it, and it was kind of cool, to see that someone actually, appreciates your work because it is hard work, and it really was a labor of love, and it was a joy. So hopefully next we'll do the Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount, and we'll call that book Blessed Are They, and then we'll do the Easter story. My pal Sergio Caliero Sergio, forgive me if I didn't say your name right. He is the illustrator for the Action Bible, and I think that book has sold millions of copies. And you want to look at a work of art, a modern work of art of comic art, and the research and the illustration and the storytelling and the action. You got to think of all the actions, especially the Old Testament, with the great, oh man, battles and King David and so many stories. The story of Esther, the story of Isaac, incredible. Pick that up. That's something I think you all enjoy, and purely just from a comics fan point of view, it is a true work of art, and it's an honor to be friends with Sergio. So I bought Mark. You bought your nephew the Action Bible. It's fantastic, isn't it? So Eater von Biscayne, I missed you again. Dang it, I keep missing this. And I have my little iPad here, but I'm on my wife's page. Okay, I have the Action Bible. Sex, slavery, and slavery in the Bible. Steve, let me tell you something about that. Is going specifically talk about sex slaves. Is the first story arc for Miss Fury through Dynamite is called the Joy Division. And what people don't know, many don't know what the Joy Divisions were. I know it was a great band. Crusade Fine Arts site is still running, but we're redoing it now. It's under construction, so that will be up and running in a few weeks or a few months. Anywho, getting back to we talk about sex slavery that Henry said it was in the Bible, but getting back to that is. The Joy Divisions were during World War II, the Germans, the Nazis took the most beautiful Jewish girls out of the ghettos and sent them to camps. At many of these camps, there were two doors. Those that they deemed were attractive were sent to the left. Those that seemed not so attractive were sent to the right. The door to the right led to the work camps, which was, pretty much almost certain death. They were worked to death. They were starved. They were beaten. They were just the brutal aspects of the Holocaust. Their bodies were thrown in ovens. They were gassed. The most horrific things imaginable. And that's well documented. What isn't so well documented is that the other set of women who was sent to the left was sent to Camp Joy. There's a great book here that I use as my Bible for Miss Fury, and here it is, and I would recommend you all to read it. It's called House of Dolls. It's written by Kaczynek 135633. It is a New York Times bestseller. It came out in the 50s. This is the book, and if you look here, there's what they did to these women. Those that did go through the left, that were sent to Camp Joy, were sent to they became members of the Joy Division. And the Joy Division literally were these beautiful Jewish girls, some as young as 12 years old, were forced to become sex slaves for their. This is an amazing book, New York Times best-selling book, shocking book. It was it's a story that has to be told, and I wanted to honor this with the cover to issue number 3, which Wes Hartman did an astonishing digital painting for the cover for it, which will be released soon. The cover, I'm not going to release it until Dynamite, the publisher, releases it, but it's again something. It's never again what people should know about. Anyway, so Wes did a cover. I drew a homage cover of this, based on the illustration by, let's see, I think it's Johnson is his name, the illustrator for this book. Let's see, his name is, who did the cover illustration? I'm sorry, Dick Shelton did the cover painting of this comic. The first page, I can't find it, so I can't find the publishing date. Sometime in the 50s it was made. Anyway, but I can't wait to show you this painting. It's striking. It's it's amazing. He did a fantastic job, and thank you, Wes, if you're listening, for helping me out. Anywho, getting back to that, that's what the Joy Division is about. And what Miss Fury does is that we're taking on a very serious subject in the Joy Division graphic novel and Joy Division story arc. And that is the story of how Marla Drake is sent to capture the general who's in charge of the Joy Division. Of course, she's torn because this man is a monster. And her mission is not to kill him, but she's got to capture him. It's in the closing days of the war. And oh, thank you. You put Miss Fury in your sub today. Thank you so much, Arch. Is forgive me that I'm trying to read and draw at the same time. That she's got to capture him. It's in the waning. It's in the latter half of the war. The war is clearly coming to an end, and Miss Fury has to capture the general so he can be brought up on war crimes. They're already starting to plan the Nuremberg war crime tribunals, and this particular scumbag, whoa, just dropped something, is got to be brought to trial. So I'm going to set this up so I think you guys can see this a little better. Let's do that. Okay, I just moved something. I made a mess of things. How's that? That's good, right? It's a little better. Let's zoom this. Oh yeah, someone is. I see that someone said that someone is. Oh, what are they doing? Are they trolling me? They're saying rude things that I could mute them. Whatever. Who cares? We're just here to draw some cool comics. Eater, thank you. Godiva, great. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, better, right, guys? Okay. Again, thank you for joining me. You are on the forefront of my YouTube adventure, so we're all taking this adventure together. That drawing is just sharp. Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, this drawing, for those who, I see we have some new people joined us, is the cover, with the planned cover to my variant cover, which we hope will be out for the New York Comic Con for Miss Fury Joy Division #1. It is based off a June Tarp Mills original illustration by her creator. It is a bit sexy, but you know, this character is really sexy, really striking, really progressive for the time, and she's a lot of fun to draw. So I wanted to do something based on that, and this illustration just struck me. I think if you Google it, you could find it. Again, my printer is running out of ink. Forgive me, but with the kids starting school, you know, we're running low on ink. I'll get more ink next time. Damn straight she is. Those curves. Yeah, now who doesn't love a nice 40s curvy women? You know, to be like a real woman, you know? Not someone, you know, who's forced to, you know, to starve themselves and for the sake of fashion. How about a nice healthy badass and kick ass, you know? Are you going to add the tail, Billy? I am not going to add the tail. Just because we don't use the tail in the comic. What's interesting is that Miss Fury had the tail in the very first few pages of Miss Fury, but she used the tail and then it disappeared, and it came back for another page and disappeared. And I think that Miss Mills just said, you know, this tail is kind of just getting in the way, which just seemed to do it. Now, of course, it's a weighted tail. We could use that to beat people up with and smack it around, but by 1944, you know, you didn't see Miss Fury with the tail, and that's when this story takes place. The book opens up on the 4th of July, 1944, in New York City, and amid fireworks in the Empire State Building, and you will experience a Nazi commando attack on the Empire State Building, and we have airships in it and fighter planes battling. A nice nod to the Black Hawks, which is one of my favorite comics of all time. Well, you'll see the return of the Grumman XF Skyrocket XF-5 Skyrocket twin-engine fighter. For those you who know the Black Hawks, the great Black Hawk comics from DC. And so let's do this. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, any questions while I'm going to take a break for a second? Twerking becomes a finisher. twerking. That's pretty funny. I like that. Anyone else? Let's see, because I'm trying to look up and draw at the same time. Hopefully, I'm not ruining this cover, but I think it's coming out okay. Again, it's rendering. I'm going to do this whole cover in these colored pencils. I might go in with some wash later on. I'm not sure. I also got a new TV. I got a cool new smart TV, a Roku TV or something that's right here, and I saw YouTube on it. So I'm wondering if I could put the YouTube on my channel on my TV, which I guess I could, and maybe I could read, the questions and stuff from that. Okay. Looking forward to the book. Thank you, March Hare. Sidious, how's MS-13 in Long Island? It's horrible. Yeah, MS-13, them sons of bitches here on Long Island, which, it's pretty cool that, Long Island is an incredibly diverse place. If Long Island was a swing state, and I think we have 3 million people in just Nassau and Suffolk counties alone. Queens and Brooklyn is also part of Long Island. It's on Long Island, even though it's really New York City. If Long Island was its own state, with its population-wise, and I think it could be, Long Island would be one of the most important swing states in the country. Because if you look at let's go back to the 2004 election, Nassau County went for Hillary Clinton. Suffolk County, which is the larger of the two counties, went big for Trump, which is interesting. But then again, I know a lot of the people I grew up with, and still, a lot of my family, friends, friends from my high school and stuff like that. I see it on their Facebook feeds and everything like that. Very red people. A lot of eastern Long Island, out to the Hamptons, out to Montauk, from the middle of Long Island. It's a very conservative area. But we also, I think, have the best pizza in the world as well. Though I've never been to Italy, so I haven't had pizza in Italy yet. Anyway, so we're doing this with this. Let's get back to the drawing. Anyway, so this MS-13, I think since 2016, there are 65 murders, mostly of young teenagers, many of them young girls, attributed to MS-13. It's just a cancer. And they're in the shadows, and they're everywhere. So please, it's terrifying. They have to be stopped. They will be stopped. They are being stopped. I think the island just got a huge grant from the government, from the federal government, that adds into the law enforcement a couple of $1 million or something to help them fight this MS-13 scourge. And we all just have to be vigilant, because they are savages. What they do is, they hack people to death. Again, most of these people are teens that get in their way, teens that don't want to. A lot of them are immigrant children, children of immigrants, immigrant children themselves, that don't want to join their ranks per se, and they're just butchered, or they'll just pick random people for a what's it called? Not an introduction. When someone wants to join a gang or something like that, for their prospecting thing or whatever it is, the initiation for a gang is to murder some random person. And like I said, there are monsters everywhere, and there are good guys that stop it. So all the law enforcement officers out there, peace officers, public safety people, from correction officers to air traffic controllers, to firefighters, to and of course our police. Please be safe out there. We're all with you. We love you. Billy, I know a Latin king who went to the south side of Jamaica and was told not to wear his colors because it is an MS-13. Yeah, geez. Gangs. Crazy. It's amazing, isn't it? Shows about the lack of families. That's what I have. That's how I feel about it. The lack of the family structure, a lack of faith, a lack of community that makes these young men, they're easy victims, easy pickings to go into. They want to be a part of something. They want to join something. They have no families, let's say, or in a world of violence where many of the fathers are in jail, Hi. Hi, Billy. These people are crazy. Fatherless sons. Yes, fatherless sons is, I think one of the biggest problems in this country, if you care to hear me say it while I'm drawing away, is that men don't act like men anymore. I really believe that. They're too easy giving up on their children. It makes things too easy for them to just quit, to not take responsibility for their actions. But then again, you look at every TV commercial, right? I mean, Eder, right? You look at every TV commercial, every film, look at any TV commercial. The father's a dupe. The father's the butt of the joke. The father's the goofy idiot. That this marginalization of fathers in today's society, and this is someone coming from me whose my mother raised 6 kids on her own. My father passed away, left her with a business, which was a clothing manufacturing business. How I guess I got into being into fashion in between playing hockey and football and things like that. But my mother, she raised us, and she raised you, to be responsible for your actions. Don't They are too lazy to have responsibility. I don't know about that. I think it's a far bigger thing than people just being lazy. And yes, it is a lot easier, I guess, to find a gun illegally, because these people can't, they can't get guns. Long Island, New York has very strict gun control, but for some reason there are people being shot and people being hacked to death with machetes, on a weekly basis out here, it seems, or almost a more than a monthly basis. Another victim, another poor innocent. But anyway, getting back to what I feel is that my mother always taught us responsibility. She taught us to take responsibility for your actions. And we used to joke about, here's my mom raising us, and that we'll never be half the men that our mother is. My sister too. I had an older sister, and my brother-in-law. We lost my brother. My brother Joey was killed by a drunk driver when he was just 17 years old. And that was an incredible loss, to our family too. About this guy with a suspended license, a multiple felon, and he was out drinking one night. My brother, after we had a nice Italian dinner in March. My brother was driving his girlfriend home, and some drunk driver with a suspended license, a multiple felon, ran a red light and hit them and killed my brother. So, I don't give a shit how people feel about that. I have very strong feelings about it, and forgive me for cursing. But again, responsibility, take responsibility for your actions. I don't think things like poverty are a proponent of it. I'm sure it has some aspect, but then again, you look at the Great Depression, when what percentage of Americans were out of work, and aside from all the gangster films you see, there wasn't that rampant, crime wave going on. I think it's more of a family thing. I really do. I think it's a family thing. I think it's a big fault is that, again, men don't act like men anymore. They don't take responsibility for their actions, and they leave, these children, and they go on their merry way, and they leave these children with these, with these mothers who are trying to hold full-time jobs. And it's anyone trying to be a single parent, whether you're a man or a woman. It's not easy. Are you kidding me? And you look at it when you have two parents, whether they be, a man and a woman, two men, two women, it doesn't matter. When you have a two-family, household, your risks of going to prison drops considerably. Your risks of being murdered or being, shot or anything like that, being a victim of a crime, goes down considerably. And that's just something we should all think about. Again, I didn't mean to get into this. I wanted to talk about drawing, and I'm seeing people asking me questions, and I'm jumping into that. Sorry. I'm sorry, too. I didn't mean to talk about that stuff, so I'm here to talk positive. But then again, maybe maybe I should just say what's on my mind. My grandfather, dang it, I missed another one. Again, guys, I will have this set up again at another time. We will, get it right. I'll fix it, and I'll be able to answer questions and see them. I'm going to look up for a second, and let's see if there's any questions that I can answer. So if anyone has any questions in real time, ask away. Or am I just going to get in trouble with myself? Let's see. Okay, bam. Apology. My mother was a single parent a few years. She, oh, dang it, drunk driver hit my mother's boyfriend. Oh, hospital for a year. Oh, I'm so sorry, Eder. It's not good, Billy. It helps build your community. Dang it, these things just come and go so fast. Shoot. Now I feel terrible that I'm not answering. Ouch. You're doing great. Thank you, J-Bo. Doing great. Grandfather died on Christmas Day. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jada. Oh, man. Everyone's got it, It's serious, it's cool. Everyone's got stories to tell, don't we? We all do. We all have our tragedies, we all have our triumphs. Everyone's got a story to tell. Someone once asked me, here's an interesting thing. Social justice warriors are ruining Battlefield 5. They got to go. Man, dude, I don't even know what that means. I don't know anything about Battlefield 5. I can ask my kids. But it sounds like Battlefield 5. Who knows? Who cares? But someone had asked me once, like, now, if any of you are into making comics yourself, what comic should I tell? And I think comics you should tell are stories personal stories, things from your own life. Not every comic book has to be, about a superhero. I mean, heck, Marvel, DC, the big guys, Dark Horse, Dynamite, a lot of them, they have that market cornered. Tell interesting stories. Tell stories that most people don't know about, that have never heard of. Tell stories about your family, about lives. I have a friend of mine, Mark Patton, whose grandfather escaped from a concentration camp. I think he was, was he in Russia or in Italy or something like that, or escaped from the Italians and fought in the war? And I mean, that's a story. There's a story right there. Tell these true life, adventure stories. Tell the stories of, on the human condition, on the triumph of the triumph of this human soul, about the persevering over evil, or over struggling, of just something good, a story that's good. Look at any Norman Rockwell painting. Norman Rockwell was I lost her to cancer. Oh, I'm infatuated with this piece, Billy. Oh, thank you. Oh, Frida Kahlo. Yes, Jada, Frida Kahlo. And cancer does suck. We could look at people going through, and that's why it's so distressing when you see one comic creator. And again, I'm not fully in on that. I don't know much about it yet, and I will explore it. But, you're just reading and seeing that people are wishing cancer on other comic creators, or I mean, oh, you guys crazy? My wife had cancer, and she went through it. And I have friends that have died of cancer, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies. I mean, it is ugly, and it's heartbreaking. And again, it's a thing that you have these people are so, they feel so empowered, perhaps because being behind their keyboards or on their phones, tweeting things and writing things, and I did make a tweet about it, and they're like, they would tweet and write things that they would never say to someone's face. I've try to go through life without having to whisper to anyone about anything. I mean, think about it. You're going to live a heck of a lot longer. Look at someone like Alan Bellman, the positivity he has. Look at someone like Stan Lee, the joys that he has brought, to the world. Look at Joe Sinnott. Look at the great, Russ Heath, who passed away. Anyone ever had the honor of meeting Russ Heath? My God, was he just a joy to be around. My sister died from breast cancer, left 2 children behind. Oh, Peter, I'm so sorry. Oh, my gosh. I am so sorry to hear that. My wife had breast cancer, and thank God, she had incredible doctors here, and they literally saved her life. And then not too long after that, I mean, my wife had some severe complications with my son, Matthew. We almost lost her then. And she was in the hospital for a month. Doctor, had screwed up while she was having an emergency C-section. We don't know. We think that because of her immune system was devastated, that might have led to her getting breast cancer, because there's no one in her family with who's ever had any sort of breast cancer or any sort of cancer. Then 3 years ago, she ended up having. But what's interesting is that breast cancer actually saved her life. She, thought she had bronchitis or something, and once you have cancer, your doctors immediately wanted her. She wasn't feeling well. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that your grandmother died of stomach cancer, Jada. Oh, just terrible. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Anyway, that what happened, which is crazy with my wife, is that she wasn't feeling well. Her doctor suggested that she get an X-ray. She thought maybe she had bronchitis because of her history with cancer. She went in and they found out that she had an aneurysm, and she had to go in and get that checked. And it literally, that whenever you hear someone in their 40s who's in perfect health, I mean, my wife weighs, if she weighs 118 pounds, that's a stretch. She doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink. She's in terrific health. She's very active. And she had this aneurysm, which is purely, hereditary. If she did not have breast cancer, if she did not have to go in, if they did not suggest that if her doctor did not insist that she gets an X-ray, she most likely wouldn't be here with us now. Because you do see things, when you hear someone who's in perfect health and they'll have a heart attack and they'll just die of a heart attack, and you're like, what happened? How did that happen? How does something like that happen? It usually is an aneurysm. That silent killer. And again, so I'm looking at people here now that we're sharing our stories of people who lost loved ones to cancer, and it makes it all seem, all this crazy battles that are going on social media now between people drawing sides and people being angry and protesting if you don't get your way about something. You don't protest that you don't get your way. You protest an injustice. There's things like cancer. Everyone's lost someone to cancer. Everyone's lost people to accidents, to drunk driving, to stuff like that. And instead of coming together and finding our common, the things we have in common, we harp on the things that divide us. And for the most part, those things that divide us are really stupid things. So anyway, so here I'm working. Guys, before I went on, I think, and it's funny because I wrote it down, I think I had 1,198 subscribers. Or I think so. So that means I'm almost at 1,200 subscribers. Does anyone know how many subscribers we have? Data, my grandma and him got divorced and she's healthy. And she can dance really good and she's 54. I'm sure she can cut quite the rug. I have 1,200 subscribers. All right, hooray. Thank you, guys. This is our celebratory 1,200 subscriber YouTube. What is this? A post? What is this? I'm reaching for my reference that fell down. This YouTube video. This is great. YouTube Live, 1,200 people. Thank you. If you would mind sharing it with your friends, I really would like to get more. I'd like to do this. If you guys don't mind joining me daily, I'll come in and I'll talk about anything, for the most part, until I get in trouble with the wife. But I've been going on, 79 minutes now. We'll give it a little bit more. My battery seems to be dying. But we'll give it a little more, and then I'll come back tomorrow if you guys don't mind joining me. And we'll, this pencil's getting low. Look at how much of my pencil I've used from the beginning. I have another fresh pencil. So you guys have joined me on this adventure. And what we've done is that we have killed a pencil. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. Let's zoom in a little more. This great pencil gave itself to us. This beautiful Prismacolor pencil sacrificed itself and poured itself out and created this image. It's getting small now, so we might pass it off along to its younger brother, I guess. For those who want to know, this is a Beryl Prismacolor pencil, black noir, PC935. PC935. So if anyone is interested in using these sort of pencils, it's really great. I mean, I don't know the resolution of the video. I don't know how well it's showing, but again, you get some really nice blacks. I might have to go in with some inks later on, but look what this pencil did. The little pencil that could. Look at this little guy who was this big. Actually, he started off this big because we sharpened him too. So this little guy, almost, he's like a chrysalis. He started off as, here's our inchworm, right? Here's our little worm who turned himself into a chrysalis and got to this stage and became a beautiful butterfly. And look at that, butterfly pencils. Maybe we got something new there we could start to talk about, That's kind of cool. It's almost like a bottle of ink. It's sad when you get to the bottom of that bottle of ink, like you get to the bottom of a bottle of good booze. Yeah, we just said goodbye to a little pencil. He's getting smaller. We're going to use this pencil to the end, and we're going to be able to use this pencil for shading and all, but maybe we should make these videos one pencil posts or something like that. What could we call this? The birth and death of a pencil. It's not a death. It's a birth. It's becoming immortalized. This piece of graphite and wood, right, has been immortalized on paper. Very organic, right? Paper comes from a tree. This comes from a tree. Look at that. It's the giving tree. Maybe that's what we should call these, the giving tree, because both our pencils and our paper all comes from a tree. I like that. Pencil post, the giving tree. I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be a future thing. We're going to do that next week after I go to Dragon Con and go crazy. And I think that's what we'll do. We're going to do our posts will last the length of a pencil. You've transferred its essence to a new form. People have been doing that for centuries, haven't they? For a millennial. Billy Tucci, be safe at Dragon Con. I sure hope not. No, of course I'll be safe. But anyway, so we're going to finish this pencil. That's what our thing is going to be. So we're going to go in and let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to do some more folds. I love drawing clothing. Yay, I do love drawing P-51 Mustangs and my favorite aircraft, Spitfires, preferably the Mark 9 Spitfire. P-51 Mustangs I love. But there's a little, I don't know if you could see that, but I drew a little, wait a minute, there's a little, you see that little guy? That's a little zipper there. That's not me. That's taken from June Mills, drew a little zipper there. Anyway, so here we have it. This pencil he's not done. I'm going to call him Peter Pencil. And Peter Prismacolor pencil. We got to come with a cool Italian name. Prisma, something. Prisma. This particular Prisma, who became immortalized on the 29th of August, 2018. Oh, look at that. Let's do that. There's a nice white line there. Yay. Anyway, so you can see her costume is falling. There's her little claws. Miss Fury's got a really cool costume. I'd love to find someone who's doing a cosplay on her. I'm a pencil too. All right. We're all pencils, aren't we, Peter? There you go. Just like we're all Jerry Tucci. We'll be getting on. Do you like Martin B-26? I love the B-26. Wow. Your granddaddy served a B-26 Marauder, huh? You know who else's grandfather served on a B-26 Marauder was Shelton Drum's dad. Shelton Drum, who puts on the fantastic Heroes Con the proprietor of Heroes Aren't Hard to Find comic shop in Charlotte, North Carolina. His dad's a hero, and your granddad's a hero too. So let's go with little Peter Pencil here. This is going to be Peter Pencil. And we'll have Paulina Pencil. We'll have, oh man, we'll have some really great names. We're going to come up with a whole bunch of names for our Prismacolor pencils that will bleed out onto the paper and will become immortalized, will become butterflies. Black butterflies, like the Black Monarch. Oh, I like that idea. See that? We're already being positive. People are fighting all across the fruited plain, all across the internet. You know, people are fighting against ISIS, you know, in the Middle East. You know, real warriors are fighting against a real terror. And we're making butterflies. We're making something immortal. We're making something positive. We'll stick with that. I'm drawing a beautiful figure based off of one of my favorite creators of all time, June Tart Mills, and I become even a bigger fan of hers every day. Every day, the more I learn about June Mills, and we're going to explore all her characters. We're going to take a really in-depth look in the upcoming Peter draws the best crotches. Indeed. Well, everyone has one, right? So what are you going to do? We're going to be going into. I'm going to be going into great detail about all the characters in Miss Fury, especially the one in each of the story arcs. With every new story arc, we'll be introducing more classic June Tart Mills characters. And let's see how much we can end Peter here. We're getting low, but we're gonna do this piece here. We're gonna finish this, and then we're gonna send Peter on its way. Okay, I don't know who that is. I'm lonely. Oh, come on, Jada. Well, you're with us now, so you're not lonely. We're a family now. We are creating a beautiful family. And, I'm really looking forward to things is interviewing some of my friends, too. Maybe I can grab some people at Dragon Con. I know that my buddy Jeff Kaufman is going to be there. I know that Brian Polito, Brian, as I like to refer, and I stole this from my pal Mark Sparacio, but I think I'm the kid brother that Brian Polito never wanted. That's how I see myself. Brian will be there at Heroes Con. I'm going to interview Brian, and then, I think I'm going to find a collector or two and start interviewing comic collectors and see what they're into, see how they feel about things. Maybe I can grab someone from the left, someone from the right, try to get to the bottom of all this craziness that's going on, and, this unprovoked madness and hate and ire, and, we just want to make, butterflies here. That's pretty crazy. I'm talking like butterflies. Just kidding. Dang it, I missed something else. Darn it. All right, now I'm looking at this drawing, and June Mills did this amazing hip bone right here. Look at that. She really captured it. Forgive me. If you look at that, that is a hip bone, man. See that top? You see the bone right there on the top? So she was able, see what an incredible illustrator she is. She did this bone right here. Is that a lot of times you see illustrations, they have round hips. No, they have bones, especially it's real prominent in women, right? And you look at this bone right here, and then you go to that bone there. Wow, I don't know if I grabbed that, if I got that. I think I covered the bone here, but we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna focus on that bone and pop that a little bit more there. There you go. All right, let's put that there. Love hip bones, square hips. Yeah, again, the human body is an amazing thing, and is there anything more beautiful, than the female form? I don't think so. I mean, take that argument, maybe a Supermarine Spitfire, but I'd say the Spitfire is the most beautiful machine man's ever created. I would say that the female form is definitely. I'm going to work on that tomorrow next time. You capture so much grace in your drawing. Oh, thank you. I'm just aping June Mills's art. I got a nice look at it. I got to draw it and, and add my little touch to it. That's all. But I felt an homage was apropos So let's do this. We're going to add some more butterfly. This guy's going to go to pasture soon because my hand's starting to cramp. Can't really hold him too well. And that my battery is dying. I might say goodbye. And or I'll just say so long. I met a Spitfire pilot. He was like 90, emotionally exhausted. Oh, I met several Spitfire pilots. And, the Battle of Britain is my go-to, aviation story. I am a huge fan of the Eagle Squadron. I guess you could say that I'm also a novice historian when it comes to that. I've got a lot of friends that have taught me so much on it. Through them, I got to meet many pilots. And I've got several stories that involve that as well. And someday we'll get to see them. Let's see, any questions? A beautiful machine. Indeed, a Spitfire is the most beautiful machine I think ever created. I really believe it is. Sorry, Mustang fans. Shout out to my friend Susie, please. Hello, Susie. Did I say that right? Say that again. Let's see. We love you, Peter. You'll be missed. Who'll be missed? Oh, Peter. Did we have a Peter and he split? CF 105 Avro Arrow is close. I don't know what that is. Susan. Jada, I don't know what that is. Let's see. I'm going to talk to you guys now. Petro pencil grips are often... Oh, really? I've never even heard of those. Google it. All right, I will. Wasn't the pencil's name Peter? Oh, yeah. You're right. Peter, say so long, but Peter will never be gone. Think about it. Peter the pencil. You're right. I apologize. My friend Peter was on. But yeah, Peter the pencil, we can't say goodbye to him, I mean, the wood shavings, or she's my friend's name. What's your friend's name, Jada? Let's do a shout out. What's her name? Is it Susie? Hello? Let's see. Susan, right? Susan. Is that right? Hello, Susan. It's Billy Tucci here coming to you live from New York, from Long Island, New York. And I'm drawing Miss Fury, and we're having a grand old time. I hope you'll join us for future adventures as we do our pencil posts. One pencil only. And we are going to do a post, and when I'm working on these pencils, yes, Peter Pencil will live on forever in the drawing, because this is what Peter Pencil is. Look, Peter's become a butterfly, hasn't he? Peter Pencil is now a butterfly. And you know what? So are all you guys, too. So I'm going to take thanks for the stream. I'm going to bid you all adieu, or a don't. Live from New York. It's Wednesday Tucci Live. Yep. I'm going to say goodbye. Please subscribe. Tell your friends about it. We're going to have fun with these things. I put the trail of the bomb. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Peter says good night. We're going to keep Peter around. We'll hit it in the morning. We're going to do some more work. We're going to finish this tomorrow morning. And then I've got to pack for Dragon Con, pick up some new sheet prints from the printer. Hopefully they'll be done. And head on out there. So good night, everybody. Thank you all. This has been great. We are family. We've just watched a creation happen. And a lot more coming. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks a million. Love you. And tally ho.